Further moving up, this branch is the posterior cerebral artery, not cerebellar. It's cerebral artery. Okay, not cerebellar. Okay, so it is a posterior cerebral artery. Okay, this posterior cerebral artery, they further divided into, this segment is P1 and from ear to ear is P2. P1 portion of posterior cerebral artery and P2 portion of posterior cerebral artery. And then it ascends, it anastomosis, it moves up, right? So this portion is called as this portion is the posterior communicating artery. Okay, so this portion is the posterior communicating artery. Okay, this is the posterior cerebral artery. Now as it moves up, this portion, that is from ear to ear, right? So from ear to ear, this entire portion is called as the anterior cerebral artery. Okay, this is the anterior cerebral artery. From ear to ear, it is A1, and from ear to ear, it is A2. Very simple, right? Posterior cerebral artery, anterior cerebral artery, posterior communicating artery, and this portion, this middle portion, what you see here, this is the this portion, what you see here, is the anterior communicating artery. What is it called as? This portion is the anterior communicating artery. Fine. So this forms the circle of Willis. And also very important thing is, one more artery which supplies almost 80% of the blood supply. Very simple. As you can see here, another artery, it runs and gives off a lot of branches, right? So this is a very important artery, which is nothing but internal carotid artery. Okay, internal carotid artery supplies almost 80% of the blood. Okay, so the internal carotid artery, it moves up, it gives off branches here. What is this branch? This is the ophthalmic artery, and this portion from the ophthalmic artery till ear, this is the meningeal, middle meningeal artery. Okay, and then if you see here, it gives off further branches. This is the anterior choroidal artery. This is the anterior choroidal artery, and these small branches are lenticulostriate artery. Lenticulostriate artery. So it might look a bit difficult, but once you sit back and rewind this video, it will be very simple. So vertebral artery, it moves via the cervical vertebrae via transverse foramen. It moves up, it enters the brain via foramen magnum, and it gives off the first branch, which is the posterior inferior cerebellar artery, and which in turn gives rise to posterior spinal artery. Again, it moves up, it fuses, it gives off what is the anterior spinal artery. Again, moves off, fuses to form the basilar artery, and in the basilar artery, the first branch will be the anterior inferior cerebellar artery, and moves up, labyrinthine artery, pontine branches, it moves up, superior cerebellar artery. Again, this it forms a circle of Willis, and this forms the posterior cerebral artery, P1, P2, A1, A2. This is the anterior cerebral artery, and this portion is the posterior communicating artery, and this is the anterior communicating artery. Okay, this is the optic chiasma. And also you have what is called as the internal carotid artery supplying the circle of Willis. So internal carotid artery, it gives off what is called as the ophthalmic artery, middle meningeal artery, and this will be the anterior choroidal artery. This will be the lenticulostriate artery. So this sums up the vertebral artery and circle of Willis. I hope you understood the concepts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day.